Hey everyone, Reyan and Mark here, and welcome to another episode of Barbecue and Brews. Today we've got an amazing guest, Glenn Dumbrell from Char Char Char, came on the show to talk about how he started as a butcher, the Wolfpack, his love for Slow BBQ, and the little project he's working on at the moment, which is Turn Left Albuquerque. So looking forward to speaking to Glenn and getting some tips on cuts of meat and things like that we should be looking for, and how we can support our local butchers. But before we get started, Mark, how are you, mate?
I'm doing really well. It's been a hectic few weeks between shows, but I'm doing really well. I do see now that you've become side.
Yes,
You're
I am now
you're
an
now
NFT,
famous.
yeah. No, look, yeah, it was great. So I sort of offered to do one, and I was quite chuffed. So yeah, really cool to see that one, which is really good. But Mark, I guess, yeah, before we go any further and get Glenn on, we've got to say thanks to our sponsors. So Brewery Colo, a brewery down here in Ocean Grove, down in Victoria, sort of looking after us for beers and helping us with the show, which is great. And the Legends of the Rub Society as well. So really cool to have the Rub Society on board. And I guess, speaking of Rub Society, Mark, what's your rub of the week this week?
So I thought I'd go, well, since, your rib appreciation, I'd go, what's a good rub that goes on ribs? And so I've gone, looked through all the rubs I've got, and I've picked this one called Firecracker. It goes really good on ribs.
Yeah.
So
I've heard
if you
I've
haven't
heard good
tried
things.
it, I reckon give it a crack. You'll really enjoy it. Put some Firecracker on your ribs.
That's it, mate. So Smoky Joe's there from WA, and obviously a bill from the Rub Society as well. I've gone Sauce Low and Slow, the Shadow Blend, which
Shadow Blend is quite nice.
There we go. Yeah, which is great on steak. So
on a tomahawk, it's amazing.
Yeah, and what I like about Sauce Low and Slow stuff is they make you think. It's kind of they're not your sort of whack it on. You can sort of do different things with it, and it's really complex flavor sets as well. So, which is really cool. And obviously, if you go to rubsociety.com.au, RFTRS will get you 10% off. So, but without further ado, the man of the hour is here.
What are you drinking?
We got to crack a beer.
Yeah.
Oh,
what are you drinking?
Oh, man, the sponsors are going to be pissed. I'm drinking Ocean Grove Lager, and probably obviously started too early, but this is nice, simple drinking. Good summer beer, mate. What do you got?
It's a school night, so I needed a coffee. So I've gone coffee.
Yeah,
because I do like the coffee. Now I'm going over to the side because I've really ruined one keyboard. Oh, look at that! I'm getting better at this. Cheers.
Cheers, buddy. All right, now let's get Glenn on.
Yeah.
Here we go. Before we get going, too, put your comments in, because we can get your comments on the screen and throw them at Glenn as well if you have any questions for him. So pop those through.
And we have the technology. We can involve you in the conversation.
Welcome, Glenn. Hey, Glenn, how you doing, mate?
Hello. Yeah, I'm good. How are you guys going? Thank you very much for having me on.
That's all right, mate. Look, before we get started, it's in the name, so we need to sort of bring it up. It's What are you drinking, mate?
I'm drinking a Wolf of the Willows. It's a
nice.
Johnny Smoked Porter, and we're surrounded by small breweries up here, and they're one of the good ones. They're all good, but Wolf of the Willows is a ripper.
That's cool, man. That's cool, and it goes well with the t-shirt.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, Wolfpack, Wolf of the Willows. It all sort of ties in.
That's awesome.
So, Glenn, let's just start with the big question: how did you get into butchering?
Well, the way I got into butchering was I was my best mate, a couple of doors up. His older brother, a bloke called Lee Carpenter, who ended up being pretty well known in the industry. He became a butcher. Then my best mate Dale Carpenter became a butcher. Then I did, and then their little brother Brett did. So we all did. We lived 2 doors away, and we produced 4 butchers, and we're all okay at school, but we were sort of pretty easily distracted, and probably getting out of school and getting a job and an apprenticeship was probably a good thing to do, and we just sort of all fell into butchering.
No, it's unreal, mate. So, I mean,
and we're not generational or anything.
Oh, and that's but you've obviously been there you've obviously been doing it for quite a long time. Obviously, you started your own shop. You went to Coles for a stint as well, for a concept store that they were working on, and then you came back and opened your own shop. But what drew you to open your own store again?
What happened? I had a shop early days, and I was probably a bit ahead of my time. I sourced really, really good meat, and I did okay, but probably there wasn't such a focus on cooking and cooking shows, and cooking wasn't such a thing back then. It sort of was to me. And I did okay, but I sort of thought it's pretty hard physically, and I sort of thought I don't want to do this when I get older. So I got out of it for a little while, and I ended up going into pharmaceuticals, and I did that for 16 years. Wow, so I got out of it because it wasn't as interesting back then as it is now. It didn't have the range of cooks, the range of food, the range of techniques. So I probably got out of it because I was a bit bored, to be honest.
That's all right. And then obviously you got a tap on the shoulder from Coles to come on and do some work. And then after that, you decided to open Char Char Char. Tell us a little bit about why the name Char 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 and why Parkdale.
Well, I was actually going to open a cafe, and my partner Maria wanted to own a cafe. She always, you know, how people sort of they go out for dinner and they think, geez, I'd like a restaurant or I'd like a cafe, and then they don't realise that the hard work that goes into it. And she always wanted a cafe, and we were looking at cafes. I was going to go in with a friend of mine who's a good chef, and I don't know, it didn't show up for a couple of meetings, and I said to Maria, if a chef doesn't turn up, I can't cook. It's not, I don't know. And I kept talking her out of it. And we're in Parkdale. We walked past a butcher shop. She said, why don't you get a butcher shop? And I knew that butcher shop had been a really good butcher shop, but it had sort of lost its way a fair bit. And so I thought, oh, bugger it, all right. So we went in and made him an offer. And it was really, really struggling when we took it over. And within 12 months, I think we tripled the sales and we're sort of on our way. And the name Char Char Char, I'm pretty creative. Like I've written a book. I'm a little bit sort of artistic, I suppose, in a way. And I just thought Parkdale quality meats, and all the chefs had all the good names. All the restaurants had all the good names. And I thought, no, it's about time, we got one. So I just sort of thought, I was going to call it the Lazy Cow.
All right.
To start with. And and I had a couple of people say to me, listen, if you call it the Lazy Cow, a lot of women aren't going to be real happy. And I never even thought of that. And I don't know if that would have been the case. So anyway, I said, I come up with Char Char Char. So the Lazy Cow got the arse, and Char 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 and it sort of worked.
Yeah, look, I absolutely love the name, mate. Absolutely love the name.
It sort of says what we do as well, doesn't it? Like it sort of rolls off the tongue. It's good.
No, so the other day I was, I think I typed in Char Char Char, and it obviously it's I think it's like the number 4 or something from another language. It sort of translated it for me on Facebook. Have you, I was like, oh, that's cool. But look, a great name, and I think it's good to have a name that's sort of different and not just, like you said, quality meats and things like that.
Yeah. I think same as our barbecue concept store we're looking at, Turn Left at Albuquerque. I think won't take long, and that'll be sort of in everyone's head. And
it's already stuck in mine.
Rubs and well, Rubs and that. I know the guest you got coming up Jess Prowse, her hardcore carnivore. I remember seeing an interview at Meatstock once. I think it was Ask the Pitmasters or something, like the one you guys hosted. And the guy from, I think it was the guy from Lily Q was up there. And Jess Prowse was up there, and he looked at Jess. He said, one thing I really regret, he said, I wish I had a thought of hardcore carnivore.
Yeah,
what a great name. And it's a great name,
isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
One of the things that I really love is the ethical part of the business. Can you tell me how you sort of source your local produce?
Yeah, look, when we first went in, one thing was really important to us. We wanted to deal with farmers as much as we could. We found that really difficult because there's not that many small farmers around now, and it's really hard to deal direct with small farmers. But we have dealt with some over the journey. We've even done fundraisers for some pork pork farmers that were really struggling. So we have done a fair bit for local farmers, but we just try and source the best stuff we can, like our chickens, free range Hazeldean, and we just try and source free range wherever we can, and we just try and we try and look at the story behind the product as well.
Yeah,
as we're sourcing them, like you've got some great Wagyus over in Tasmania that walk from Robbins Island. They actually graze on one island, and when the tide's down, they walk across the water plane to another island, and things like that. Like Cape Grim, another thing. It's in a really beautiful natural environment, and that's one of Vic Wider, one of the companies we deal with a bit, and they have Greenham's raft of products, and every one of theirs has got a good story. And Australia, you're sort of spoilt for good produce, but it's worth doing a background and finding out everything about it.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
So 7 years now at Char Char Char. How, obviously, like you said, you're ahead of your time, or you felt like you were ahead of your time when you first opened your first shop. But the last 7 years, I feel like butchering and things like that, butchering and I guess the value of the local butcher has gone through the roof. And how's that evolution been like for you? What's, I've sort of, I feel like it's so much different to what it was, I guess, 5 or 10 years ago.
Yeah. I'll tell you what's happened. Back a long, long time ago, when supermarkets came on the scene, when Safeway come from America, and which now they're called Woolworths, and Coles, and supermarkets got bigger and bigger and bigger, and there's this big war, supermarket first, butcher shops. And supermarkets, they started behind the 8 ball because everybody was used to shopping at butcher shops back then. So to get the market, they had to be better, and they were really, really good. Supermarkets back in those days had really good produce, and they were brilliant. But as time went on, more and more butcher shops now, we have now got access to products that didn't exist back then. Products like Black Onyx, for instance, is the best Black Angus in the world, and you've got Mayara, you've got Stoneaxe Wagyu that have won awards, and we can now get access to these companies that don't produce enough to be able to service the supermarkets, even if the supermarkets wanted it. So we've got a tool that they really can't sort of use to combat us. But besides that, people's tastes have changed, and people have become really good cooks, and the internet and gives them knowledge, and there's so much knowledge that they might come into me and ask me, can you get this for me or whatever? So, and we can get and source it. So I don't know. I think we've just got much better cooks now than we've ever had. I mean, once upon a time, Mum had cooked meat and free veg for the family every night, and they didn't talk about food. Now it's a TV show. It's a conversation. It's where you going on the weekend? What are you eating on the weekend? And people talk about their meals. They take photos of their meals. It's a whole evolution that probably butchers, if you're a good conversationalist and you really, really are passionate and love food, you've got a great opportunity to talk to people all day about it. So it's the wheels really turned. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I sort of saw that too in action too. And I sort of popped in and said g'day a couple of weeks ago. And that Stoneaxe steak was amazing, by the way. I've got to be posting that stuff soon. Oh, mate, next level.
Yeah.
I'm glad I got to try it. But I sort of see that in your interaction. I mean, there was a lady there, and she's like, oh, I want a brisket. And you gave her some options, and you had these conversations, and I reckon that conversation would not have happened 5 10 years ago, easily
No,
like that.
no.
Especially with brisket, because I guess
Yeah.
I guess people just cooking so much more than Slow BBQ and understanding that, and actually that sort of taking hold in Australia over the last 6-7 years as well. But that was just so cool to see, you know, and you sort of giving them the opportunity to decide between a cheaper card or a more expensive card and give it the options and off it goes. But yeah, I think you just don't get that at the supermarket, you know. Like I think it's just like, you know, especially, I mean, obviously you're not going to buy brisket at a supermarket necessarily, especially for a lower cut. But yeah, that was just really cool to see firsthand, and it's it's definitely good.
But that's the same in like, sorry.
There you go.
It's the same like in a restaurant. Like if you go to a restaurant where the chef and the people there really, they just want to feed you and make some money. They don't really care about what they do. You can feel it. And like if I go to a restaurant, a while ago I went to Lygon Street, Adrian Richardson's restaurant, and it's not fancy at all. And Adrian greets everyone at the front door, and I just stood back and watched him, and the way he talks to people, he knows exactly what he's talking about, and it just makes you feel confident. And I think the more stories you've got, the more, and they evolve. It's like rubs, sauces, everything, teams, pitmasters. You know, we've got so many stories and layers that have just evolved, but it matters, you know, and we still only just scratched the surface. It's barbecue in Australia's got a long way to go.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's what we spoke about when we met. It's just like it feels like it's, you know, it's getting some great traction, but there's so much further we can go. And just to quickly shoot to Joe Camilleri's question, and to Joe's from Smoky Joe's actually, are consumers more aware of the quality on offer as opposed to cheaper supermarket meat, from what you're experiencing at the moment?
Yeah, look, I can't talk for everyone, but a lot of them are. Like, we've attracted a really good cast of cooks and consumers. Our standard customers, the majority of them really know what they're doing. But I think the gulf between supermarket meat and good butcher shop meat is so much bigger now. Customers only have to have one thing, and they'll know straight away. Like, come and get a porterhouse from us, it'll be either King Island or Pinnacle. Go and get one from Woolies or Coles, it'll be yearling, and it'll be tasteless. So I think consumers do know the difference now. Yeah, for sure.
100%.
The big thing for me is also, like, when I sort of started low and slow, you go into the butchers and you can ask, and because you're sort of getting that secondary cut of meat, I've never cooked it before. How would I do it? And the guys in the butcher shop are fantastic, and I'll prep the meat for me if I ask them to. And it made really that sort of fear you might have of trying something different, because some of the cuts of meat aren't that cheap. So you want to make sure when you do buy them that you're going to do it right. And the knowledge and support you get, which you'd never get from a supermarket.
Yep. And that's exactly right. How often do you go into a supermarket or somewhere and you see somebody giving advice, and you know straight away that it's the wrong advice? You know that they're just, you know, they're sending them home with something that they're going to absolutely destroy. So being a good cook and loving food is really, really important, because you know, send someone home with an expensive cut of meat, like you're saying, and the wrong advice, you're never going to see them again.
100%. And I mean, that's the thing where you just, nothing like ruining luring a nice cut of meat because you've got the wrong advice. That would be the worst. Yeah. Although
the funny thing is, the more expensive the cut of meat, probably the less chance of ruining it.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, it's a bit like that, isn't it? Like, you can try hard to stuff it up.
Like a black onyx tri-tip, it's, I don't know, 4+ marble score or something.
Yeah,
you got to cook it a long time before you ruin it.
Yeah. You know? Yeah, a lot more forgiving, which is kind of, and that's the counterintuitive thing where you kind of don't want to risk it because it's expensive, but at the same time, being expensive means you can actually risk it a bit more.
And that's a funny thing that you often get people come in and say, "Oh, look, I want a brisket, but it's my first time, so I don't want to ruin it. So I'll just buy a cheap one." So if they buy a cheap one, they're probably giving themselves a much harder task. So probably better off just buy an expensive one to start with. And no, some will come in and buy a really good one first up and come back and say, oh, that was amazing. And quite often your first brisket can be successful. I don't know why. It's like playing the pokies. You know, people first time the pokies, they win and then they're gone. It's almost like that with briskets. A lot of people fluke it first up.
Oh, that's it. Sorry, you sort of just backtracking there a little bit on I think you mentioned Pinnacle there, which is one of the meats, one of the, I guess, the producers. That particular cut seems to, like, when he sliced it open the other day, I think you had a video you did recently off the Pinnacle.
Okay.
I think it was and it was like it was marbled like an actual. You would almost think it was like a grain fed style kind of meat.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'd had to reflect back on that one because that
was See, Pinnacle is grass fed, but I think it's from the high country, and they because of the volume they do, only a certain amount goes into Pinnacle. It's got to be a certain marble score before it goes in, and that's the beauty of buying from good producers like Cape Grim, like Reserve, for instance, is 4+. So every single one you get is exactly the same because they do a big volume and only the good stuff goes in. Same as vintage beef. I don't know if you've seen vintage beef, which is it's old dairy cattle. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
Repurposed, but the stuff that goes into that is absolutely unbelievable. But out of the volume that they process, probably a lot doesn't go into that. So they do all the hard work for us.
Now, speaking of hard work, you do a lot of hard work there making your own sausages and cabanas. Where do you get your ideas for all the flavors you do? And what's your favorite?
Well, what happened when we first started doing briskets? We were the first place around to have a variety, like a big variety of briskets. And I sort of, I'd sort of have 10 types of briskets. And if it didn't sell, it was getting a little bit old, I think I'll put it in the cabana. So I made a cabana. I thought I'm just going to chuck in all the things I like, which is brisket, beer, and jalapeno. And
that's an amazing cabana too. I love that.
That is still probably our most popular. And then I made another one we make at the moment, hot chili woman. We use hot chili sauce that's made from Sri Lanka. Have you seen that?
Yeah, the Mama Malise sauce.
We do like Mama Malise. Yeah, it is
so good,
beautiful. And that in a cabana, I would have thought it would have got lost, but it didn't. It's just amazing, the complexity of it. But we just make them just like same as being a cook, but just think of different things. I think Danny made a chorizo today. It was bloody good. Made a Wagyu and cracked pepper cabana. And we always think that, like, we make some that don't work. I made a Rocky Road cabana, and the marshmallow just disintegrated. And there's all these little gaps in it. But it didn't work.
You got to try it, I suppose. You got to try it.
I made a camel cabana. And
oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Tasted all right. Oh, it tasted all right, but camels, it's nothing special. It's sort of, it's a good idea. Talk about the environment and everything else. We're just got so many camels out in the outback, and they need to get rid of them. They're a pest. So it's good to do something with them, but the meat's nothing special. The camel cabana, no one really wanted to try it because it was camel. So not everything works.
Just rebrand as special meat,
Yeah. Think of some new name might work.
No, it's just, I guess, just a quick message, I suppose, to people commenting. So a few people were commenting on one of the streams, which unfortunately I'm not seeing the comments come through live. So I might just quickly read one of the questions out to you, Glenn, if that's okay. This is from Sam Kimber. So he's sort of asking, how do you convince customers to ignore what they have been taught about meat and show them that quality really matters? What's that conversation process like?
I just probably I don't go about trying to convince anyone about anything. Like I'll talk to them and ask them, what do you normally cook, or especially if it's a new customer that come from somewhere else, what are you cooking on, and I'll just give them a bit of advice. But I'll explain where the actual product comes from. Like Wanderer, for instance, I'll say, look, that's grass fed, but it's got access to barley, so the barley makes it a little bit buttery. It's just like craft beer or anything else. It's all what you eat is what you taste like. Like it's got so much to do with it. So I'll just explain all the sort of differences of everything, and I'll give them the opportunity to work out what they want to try. They might try something easy to start with, like if you're just getting into low and slow, probably a lamb shoulder is probably your best bet first up, because they're absolutely
lamb
delicious.
Is the best.
Oh, it's underrated. Like in America,
no, highly rated.
Yeah, you know what? If I was younger and I wanted to start something new right now, I'd go over to America and try and get a lamb into the barbecue arena over there, because it should be there. It's amazingly good.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of it over there, do you?
No.
Yeah. Look, great little segue too. I mean, you mentioned low and slow and people cooking it, and you've got a real passion and real love for low and slow barbecue. And I suppose, where did that come from, and how did that develop over the last few years?
Originally, I bought a Komodo online about, probably about, 15 years ago. And I was doing low and slow. I had my kids for a few years on my own when they were younger. And we used to do stuff on the Komodo, like a chuck on the bone and things like that. And I didn't, we're cooking some beautiful meals, but I didn't realize it was a thing until, I don't know, I just must have found it on the internet, found American barbecue, and sort of different things that pop up. And then early days when we first started, a bloke called Chris Marks come out to Australia. He's got 3 little pigs in Kansas City. And he come in, and I did a Boston butt for him, and he liked our stuff. He did a class up in Richmond, I think, and people started streaming in after that. And then I just got to know, like, pitmasters from the States. When they come over here, they drop in and see me. Then pitmasters that were starting over here, like Daniel Barrett and Adam from Manhorn, all those sort of guys I got to know. And we just sort of all grew at the same time. And it's not just the food; it's the people that I've met through it. So interesting. Like I've got friends all over, not all over the world, but all over the world that do barbecue now, and it's just their stories. I like food's just not. It's not just the meal. It's the time you spend talking when you're eating, and all the relationships that come with it. And barbecue, like the competitive side to it, and all the little industries that have come from, like Macca's knife rolls, and all these people that I've met that have just sprung up from it. Zach Hotkiss with Feedlot, I knew all these guys before they even had a product. Daniel Barrett come and work for us. He used to work for us one day a week before he even had a team. And so to see it all evolve has been really, really interesting. And how my interest first started, I really don't know, to be honest. It just sort of happened little bit by little bit, and before I knew it, Jay was doing Meatstock, and it was this big thing. Yeah.
That's it. And how good Daniel Barrett's absolutely dominating the barbecue competition scene at the moment too, isn't it?
Amazing. Yeah.
The lead mistake has been is quite up there, so it's really good to see. One of the questions that did come up with from Matt Aquilina is, what's your favorite cut of low and slow to cook and eat at the moment, Glenn?
My favorite would probably be a lamb shoulder.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Probably. I don't mind a tri-tip. I like most things. I like brisket, but I could probably only eat 1 or 2 slices. Yeah, but anything Josh Montero cooks is pretty good. He does Smoky Boys. He does sort of Asian fusion to a lot of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I could have one meal, it'd probably be a lamb shoulder. Yeah.
That's awesome. I must admit, I'm yet to cook a lamb shoulder, so I've got to try that.
Yeah.
Now you were one of the first butchers, I suppose, to start to bring in low and slow cuts and low and slow products. And was that a slow progression for you, or did you just sort of tack on over the years? Is that sort of the way you went? Because I walk into your store now, and you've obviously got the wall of rubs and sauces on the left-hand side. And then you've got 3 fridges at the back, which is all just low and slow cuts now. So, which I think wasn't there when I was there about a year ago. So it seems to be growing in your shop.
Oh, for sure. We haven't got enough room. That's why I'm opening up Turn Left at Albuquerque. I've always got rubs and sauces out the back that I can't put out, and
oh wow,
I need that room. Yeah, and I'm a bit impulsive. So if somebody I see a new product, I want it, and so. It happens slow but steady. Like I'd be every day there'd be something new coming in, and Maria'd be saying, "What's this?" And I said, "Don't worry, it's just you put it out there. Don't worry." And it just, "What's this? What's this?" And it just kept going and going. But now it's not just barbecue. Like I've got stuff like I've got pizza sauces from Chicago coming to the new shop.
Yeah, cool.
And so there's lots and lots. Foodies and barbecuers are almost, they're sort of melding together now.
Yeah.
Well, barbecuing's becoming a foodie thing. It's pretty gourmet, like the real good barbecuers. It's not plain. It's pretty gourmet.
No, that's it, man. It's not just I mean, from a flavor set point of view and a profile point of view, it's just definitely gone to next level, especially with the different rubs and sauces we have these days. One of my favorites there that you sell there is the 4 Sauceman rib glaze. I finished my bottle on a couple of days ago, and it was devastating because it's amazing. But again, that glaze brings a complete different flavor to the ribs, which is just
the best.
Amazing.
We've got a wing glaze coming off them and a white rub. I'm the Australian distributor of their stuff, and that sort of happened by accident too. Just through relationships and that, but it is it went from packet to container, and that sort of makes a difference. But people haven't really got onto that yet. That's the best range in Australia by a mile, and you use their pork rub and their glaze, and I guarantee that's the best combination. At one Meatstock, a lot of their stuff is one Meatstock, but
that's it.
They also got a jalapeno one with a orange. Have you tried that?
No, man. And there's a beetroot one too, don't they?
They got beetroot, in one of their rubs.
Yeah, I've got to try it. There's a few rubs there. My issue is you can't see it, but there's just a wall of just rubs in the left of me that I haven't quite got to yet, and it's a tough one, mate. It's a tough one to try them all.
Hard. Yeah.
So I guess my takeaway there, Glenn, is you've got a VIP room at the back full of rubs and sauces, and we come in. Take me to the back where the good stuff is. All right.
I did have, but now it's all over in the new place. And you should see. I haven't counted them. I'd have to have 500 products easy.
Wow.
But a lot of money. I know that. I've got. I'll tell you another one. I've got Harry Sue's range. I bought out from California.
That's unreal.
I've got all his stuff, and we've got. Just some amazing, just everything you can think of, one after the other. FODMAP stuff, because not everyone, can have MSG and some other things. But that the new place is that big that people can come and spend hours walking around and not feel like, you've got to grab something and get out because there's someone else waiting. And geez, there's some good products around. So we're lucky because we just sit back and just wait for people to invent stuff. We just sell it.
This is Turn Left at Albuquerque, right? That's what you're referring to?
Yeah.
I can go spend the whole afternoon there and just stare at rubs and sauces. And
absolutely. You can come in on a Friday because we're going to be up till 9 o'clock on a Friday night. You can wander in. There'll be music. And just... because there's so many products, even fuel. You know, we've got those olive pip briquettes from
do you?
Kalamata.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, so they're good for the environment. We've got some really good charcoal cummer. We've got a whole lot of different. You could just look through all the different things. I've got some bloody good cookbooks, charcuterie stuff, and just everything.
So how big is
where
it?
did the
There's a little mezzanine upstairs with the boardroom and that because it's an ex-bank. It's 350 square meters, but we've got the bottom's about, I don't know, probably 250 square meters, I guess. But we've got a car park with 25 car parks.
Yeah.
Plus we've got street parking too. So parking's not a problem. It's pretty big, but I'll fit a lot in there. Because it looks big at the moment, but it's starting to fill up. I put together
that's
a
the thing.
few.
Once you start dragging pallets,
big grills. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and you got. I think you're getting the Yoda smokers in there too, aren't you?
I'm getting Yoda. I'm getting. I'm getting a lot of different stuff. I'm getting some hibachis from WA from an engineer over there. He's been working on for 7 years. They look amazing.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going to do the same with this. I'm going to get like little small batch producers of barbecues as well, not just all the heavy hitters. So we're going to have Big Green Egg and all the usual stuff, but we're going to have a few little bespoke sort of things like Manhorn. Like when he first started, Adam, I went and bought a barbecue out of his garage. He was working out of his garage down in Lee Warren.
Yeah.
So there's some bloody good engineers out there, and there's some good smokers out there. Aussies are pretty clever.
No, that's it, man. I had one of the questions was when is Brett Gray wants to find out when does it open, mate? Did you have an open date yet?
My open date was going to be grand final week, but that's depending on the council. So we've had to put in a permit for a change of business and a few other things that they're going to fast track it. So we could open in a week if we wanted to, if we get a permit. But I've been working on this to make a little floor plan here, and you've got to jump through a few hoops. But I'd imagine,
mate.
The start of October, we should be open without a doubt. We've still got a little bit more signage coming, and so we're nearly there. That's
awesome, mate. And look, it's good. And are you planning to have whole competitions there as well as demonstrations?
We are. Yep. We're going to, as far as barbecue comps go, I don't know how many I'll hold, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, something like that. But steak cook-off comps, I plan on holding them fairly regularly. And we're also going to have, quite a few classes. Things like Josh Monteiro and Jai Healy are going to do an Asian fusion class there. So it won't just be normal everyday barbecue classes. It'll be a few different things. So we're going to have classes. We're going to, sausage making, all that sort of stuff. We're going to sell sausage making material. So we're going to be like a barbecue shop, but also a little bit like the essential ingredient, a little bit. We're going to do a bit of everything. And we're going to evolve, but we've got plenty of room there. If we wanted to do a comp every week, we could. There's enough room in the car park to park.
Let's get a few people excited, mate.
Yeah,
that's unreal.
Yeah. So depending on what people want and how it evolves, we'll change to sort of match what happens. But it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have, I think Sterling Smith's doing a class at Christmas from Luton Bertie.
Oh, awesome. Yeah,
he's already put his hand up. He's had a bit to do with us over the years, and he's a ripper. And hopefully we'll get Mike Johnson out here some stage from
mate.
Sugar Fire.
It would be good to see him in action, mate. He's a bit of a legend. Yeah.
Wayne Mueller too from Texas. I'd like to get him out here.
Yeah.
So
I think it seems like and that's the best thing about it. It just come barbecue season, so to speak, when people start to come over here for our summer and things, that's when it'll get real good. So starting that's unreal.
They love coming out here. I mean, at the moment we've got a few of the Aussie butchers over in Sacramento.
Yeah, for the Butcher Challenge. That's
Mike
looking forward to how that unfolds. Yeah.
Yeah,
it should be good. Well, hopefully take the place. I think Ireland's at the reigning champions going in. So yeah, it'd be interesting. Be good to get a top place.
it'd be nice to get in the top handful because this group, it's their first one, so it's a bit of a learning curve. But they're all pretty.
But so
good
many of them
butchers,
have actually been through the wonders of the butcher wars, right? So
they have.
They've had that practice and things like that, and obviously got Shannon there, sort of guiding them through it as well, which is good, as well as George. So it's got to be, really looking forward. I hope they're broadcasted somehow. I just want to see them in action.
Yeah, I think they are. I saw a link somewhere. So, and I know Mike Johnson's going over there. Which is great. He's going over there off his own bat. And I know Jess Prowse is, I think she's hosting it.
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
Which is pretty good.
It's going to be, which is going to be great. We could probably pick her brain next week when she's on as well, which would be really good.
Now, Glenn, we haven't had any questions. I'm surprised. Your top there that you've got, the Wolfpack. Tell us a bit about the Wolfpack, and you've got some interesting designs I've seen in the past.
Okay, yeah. The Wolfpack started ages ago. Our Facebook page was just getting clogged up with barbecue stuff, and not all our customers are barbecue people.
What?
So I thought, I know.
Who are these people?
Exactly. So I thought, buggy is, I'm just going to start another page, just to shake them off a bit. And I started the Wolfpack, and we just grew and grew and grew and grew, and we've never bought a member, and we got 9,500, I think. But
nearly 10K. It's awesome effort. Yeah.
And people from all over the world, and really, really good cooks, and it's just a good group. We have a bit of fun, and we'll have more fun when the other shop opens. When we, we can do more competitions, and that'll free me up a bit when that opens too. I'll be able to. I won't be stuck in one place, and I'll be able to concentrate on competitions and stuff like that. But the Wolfpack's just a group like a lot of the other barbecue groups out there. They're helpful. They're just, that's what barbecue is. It's just people that have got the same tribe. So it's almost a tribal group. If that makes sense. Yeah,
that's sort of like Meatstock, sort of like that as well. So how did you get involved in Meatstock?
Yeah, Meatstock. Early days. The first festival I got involved, and
sorry, we lost you there.
I had a meet and greet there. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, so the first one I did was Yaks. Yep. And then Jay come along, and he must have seen the Wolfpack and what we were doing, and he first one in Melbourne, he approached me, asked me if I'd do a demo. And I had to do pork ribs. So I did St. Louis ribs, and I just did baby backs. So that's the first time I met Shannon. So I jumped up on stage and just went bang, bang, bang and done them. And it was meant to go for half an hour, and I did it in 15 minutes. And Shannon said, "You're meant to go for half an hour." And I said, "Well, I didn't know that." And anyway, next thing you know, I got talking, and off I went. And then after that one, George went on a holiday, and Shannon said, "Listen, George is going away. Could you come over to Sydney and help me with Meatstock?" So I said, "Yeah, all right." So I went over there and helped him, and sort of once you get in, you're in. And then there was Auckland come up, then Melbourne again, and I've just sort of been travelling with him. And then Jay had that thing. He said, "I'm going to Brazil. Who wants to come to Brazil?" Yeah. So 13 of us went to Brazil. And, we just sort of roll from one to another. It's a really, really good group. Every single person involved in it is just a terrific person, and it's a lot of fun. And so once you get into it, it's just, so much education, so much learning, so much, as you guys know, when you got involved, it's just, it's a lot of fun. And I was so happy to see Jay get back on his feet after what happened with, the COVID and all that.
Yeah.
But, that sort of Meatstock has catapulted barbecue in Australia like a million miles an hour. It was the thing that really, there was a spark there, but that was the sort of flame that really put barbecue into the big time. And it's been amazing.
And Brazil looked amazing. Just some of the videos the guys were taking there. How did you find it?
Brazil was great. That trip was great. First we went to Chile, then we went to Sao Paulo, then we went to Argentina. So it wasn't just Charrascada.
Wow. Yeah.
The Charrascada itself, that's where I met Mike Johnson there again, who I'd already met him at the Yaks Festival in Melbourne, so I knew him, and he was with Wayne Mueller, so he introduced me to Wayne, and Wayne actually ended up hanging around with us and went on a bus trip with us to markets and that, which was great, and now he's got involvement with Meatstock, so you sort of meet one person that leads to another and another and another. But one thing about Brazil, Elder Lopez is sort of a celebrity butcher there. He's a bit like butchering of food over there is just like religion. It's amazing, the passion. You can just see it. The passion in food over there is just next level. You've never seen anything like it. And Elder and his team at the moment are in California. They're competing in the world title right now.
Yeah, right.
But when we went to Brazil, I actually judged the Butchers' Wars in Brazil, which was a big thing. It was interesting. And the Brazilians had come out to Meatstock previously, and they went okay, but they didn't win anything. Then in the meantime, by the time we went to Brazil, they'd trained that hard and done their homework that much that they won, and they were really good. And
awesome.
I was judging. I was one of the judges, and we had a butcher in it, and there's a Canadian girl in it, a really nice girl. She's in the Canadian team right now, and I judged accordingly. And the Brazilians were really, really good. They'd really improved out of sight. But Charrascada, they went back again this year, and it looked even better again. So if you get the chance, whatever you do, make sure you go there.
Well, now that Meatstock's not on a Mother's Day, we might have a chance to.
Last year was
a good idea.
Last year was a tough one. But Glenn, I mean, obviously you met a whole bunch of pitmasters along the way at Meatstock and things like that. What were some of your highlights, man? Who did you meet and go like, oh, that was amazing to spend some time with them?
I sat in the backyard at Char 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 with Tuffy Stone for half an hour, and I didn't know who he was then, but I've since got to know him, and he's a real gentleman. I've sort of bumped into him a few times. He's a really, really real gentleman, and if you want to talk about food, he's really, really interesting. Mo Cason's really, really loud and really sort of he's more like a celebrity than a pitmaster, but he's really, really good, and people that know him really well, I've met him, but I don't know him really well. People that know him really well love him to death. In Australia, Jess Priles and Lance Rosen next level people, and cooks and amazing. But out of all of them, Sterling Smith I get on really well with. Mike Johnson I get on really, really well with, and Wayne Mueller. Wayne's a really interesting bloke. Wayne, out of all the ones I've met, probably if there was somebody who I'd want to go out and have a meal with, it'd be Wayne. Wayne come into our shop, bought a brisket, and invited me around for dinner. It was the best brisket I've ever had. But Southern hospitality that they talk about, it is so real. It's at first I thought they were all putting it on. I thought they can't all be that friendly, but they are. And look, there's no bad ones, but they're all different in their own way. But yeah, Mike Johnson, Wayne Mueller, Sterling Smith, they're all ripper blokes. Tuffy's really bright. Like Tuffy, you learn a lot off.
Yeah. And he's got some great anecdotes and great stories and so much experience behind him as well. So when he speaks,
he's really gentle. Like he
is.
He's just wise. Lance Rosen's like that. Lance is a wealth of knowledge.
Oh man, that's some great company you've kept. Now, a big question is: Are you going to be part of Meatstock next year, man? Are you planning to hit all the Meatstocks in Australia?
Yeah, well, yeah, I'll do something there. What I do, I don't know. Might even compete. I don't know.
Ooh, mate,
I
get up
haven't.
there, get up there.
Yeah, I might even spend one meat stock. I've been meaning to spend a meat stock with a team, and because I really haven't done the team experience.
Yeah,
Like I
that's
provide the
a
meat, and but I
I
haven't
was going to
stayed
say
up all
that's
night.
another experience at Meatstock.
Yeah. Like I get there where they're mucking around with stuff, like, and they'll say try this, and they've done all the hard work. But I wouldn't mind just watching from start to finish.
Ooh,
Stop learning.
again.
I mean, I've still got so much to learn.
Yeah. No worries, man. It looks like you have a few connectivity issues. One thing I sort of wanted to ask you, and sort of earlier in the piece, but you do a lot of presentation, a lot of videos and demonstrations on the socials. Well, like for you, was that a real step from like out of your comfort zone to start making videos and things like that? Because you sort of do it well, and you sort of especially presenting products as well as cutting up something. Is that something that came naturally for you?
Yeah, probably. I've never been shy, and it's funny. My grandfather's brother was a famous comedian. You would know him back in the old days. His name was Joffa Boy. He was with Graham Kennedy, and my uncle is an actor. My uncle Cliff. He was Mick Malloy's dad in Cracker. No, he was the one who lost his leg in Crackerjack. Why Mick Malloy had to bowl, and he also
the underwear shining the ball.
Yeah, and he's his dad. He was his dad in that boy band group that they did. So look, I come from a family of people who are confident, I guess. But I don't know. I've never had trouble talking, so it's not something that I don't feel that I'm great at it. But if you're talking about something you really believe in or something you know about, I think it comes through because people say to me that, oh, you're so passionate about this or whatever, and so when you're talking about something, you must be able to tell if somebody really, really believes in it. So I don't know. It's funny because I look at presenters and that, like you guys are very polished, and I look at like Jess Pryles is amazing.
Yeah.
And some people can just do it so good, can't they?
Yeah.
But
that's it. And
I wouldn't say I'm great at it, but I know the things I talk about, I know about them. That probably makes it a bit easier.
No, that's just skip the first 20 episodes of our series. We weren't that polished at the start.
Oh yeah, please.
When yeah.
Yeah, it took a while to get somewhat polished anyway. But I mean, look, I think the Facebook group Wolfpack definitely, they value that. They value your videos, and I mean, I know I sort of flick through and when it pops up, I have a watch as well, and it's good, and it's probably a good way to connect with the community. So you do that really well. So definitely commend you for that one, Glenn.
I'm going to do more of them with the new shop.
Yeah, man, I'll look, and that's what I'm looking forward to. I think it's going to be so good to see the new shop and sort of see the internals of it, because a lot of people on the Facebook, one of the Facebook comments that obviously we're not seeing is sort of mentioning the shop, and they'll can't wait to see it. So I think everyone's very excited. I know I am, so I can't wait to see it as well.
Melbourne needs it, that's for sure.
No, that's it. I think we definitely do, and I think having something that's that can turn into competitions, I reckon that's going to be massive. Without having to like change traffic flow in a street and things like that, which is kind of what some people have to do, unfortunately. Now you, I mean, you were nominated for the Butchery of the Year and the Personality of the Year for the Australian Barbecue Awards. What did it feel like, mate, to be, I guess, nominated and put up there against the top 10 in Australia?
I was actually, every single time they've had that, we've been nominated, and it's felt really good because, we all work bloody hard and we all really like what we do. And social media too. It's not always, a lot of awards aren't real. Lots and lots of awards. And I could go through a heap of them, and I know how people have fake accounts and all that sort of stuff. We don't do any of that sort of stuff. So we know when we get nominated for anything that's real. Personality of the year, that was weird because you know,
I think it's got the videos, mate. They love your videos.
Yeah, I Grant Neal won it one year, and he's pretty deserved. He's got a good personality.
Oh,
Boomer
yeah.
Boomer won it. I thought, fucking hell, I've got a better personality than him. But anyway, you can't win
I hope
them all.
he's watching.
Trust me, I wouldn't want to win that. I'd never hear the end of it. But
Oh, mate, no.
Butcher of the Year, great. I mean,
Yeah.
And actually, I was sitting next to Scotty from Blaxland when he won it a couple ago. We're at Black Bear. They had it at Black Bear that year. And I couldn't think of a better bloke to win. He's a ripper bloke. But yeah, just to be in the top 10, just to get mentions, good. I mean, we get, I think Lance Rent mentioned us on the radio, Paul Mercurio, Jess Prowls. When people like that are talking about it, it's pretty good. I mean, because we don't do what we do for accolades at all. But my biggest enjoyment is when someone walks in the shop and says, oh, geez, I had this the other day. It was the best brisket I've ever had or the best steak I've ever had.
Yeah.
You know, that's enough for us.
No, I love that, man. Absolutely love that. Sorry, and I guess, and finally we sort of, it's been great to have a chat to you, Glenn, and sort of get to know you a little bit more as well, and looking forward to, I guess, seeing you I'm sure we'll bump into each other a few times in the future, especially at the Turn Left at Albuquerque. But yeah, we always ask people that, who inspires you on the social media, and who do you get inspiration from and sort of follow, and who do you like to give a shout out to out there
on social media?
Yeah,
who inspires me? Yeah.
Where do you go? Like, oh, I'd love to cook that, or I'd love to, try that.
Oh, look, I've watched shows like Better Feed Phil, and who inspires me? Probably people you don't know. Like when my favorite thing with food is to find like a rundown little shack in Thailand and have a tom yum. And
100%.
And it's the joints falling around you, that sort of thing. Yeah, probably Anthony Bourdain inspires me more than anyone. I mean, to live his life, to be able to go and eat food where it comes from, which we were lucky to do in Brazil and even in New Zealand. The passion over there is amazing. And look, who inspires me? I don't know. People like Daniel Barrett inspire me. The fact that he just is so determined, and probably most of the people. Jay Beaumont. I mean,
I agree.
His energy, it's amazing, and his foresight. So there's lots and lots of them. I mean, Wayne Mueller had to go back to his family business and take it over, and his father died and left him with it, and he's kept it. It's in the top 50 in Texas still. So everyone's got a story.
Right, and I think I'm pretty sure that you inspire quite a few butchers and people out there too, mate. You do an amazing job, and thank you so much for coming on and having a chat, Glenn. It was I've been looking forward to this chat for a long time. Thank you so much, mate, and
I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. No worries,
mate, and we'll talk to you soon.
No worries. Have a good night.
See ya. All right, everyone. That was Glenn Dumbrell from Char Char Char, the Wolfpack, Turn Left of Albuquerque, all of the above. So you sort of.
I need to go to Turn Left at Albuquerque. It sounds like someone's finally got more rubs than you. I need to go there.
Oh, mate, look, I am so excited. Every time Glenn puts up a photo, I'm just like, I can't wait for this place to open. So it's just, it's going to be one of those places that I think will be frequently visited, and just can't wait to see the competition scene and things like that. So hopefully see more videos. Now, mate, who's on the show? I mean, we'll probably mention it a few times. But who's on the show next week?
Let the cat out of the bag. I had this big presentation. I had fireworks ready for it. We've got just on next week. So.
Awesome. So we've got Jess Prowls from Texas, Austin, Texas, on the show. So special time, 9:30 a.m. Thursday. So set your alarms.
Plan your sicky people.
Yeah, that's it. So it's gonna be really good, mate. And Mark, I guess before we wrap up, mate, who do you want to give a shout out to?
So I want to shout out to Beard Street Barbecue. And you can now book him to come to your events, which is amazing. And also he did do which is inspired by me, which I was inspired by someone else, the pineapple I do love the pineapple with sauce, low and slows.
Yeah,
Oh,
it looked
if
amazing.
you haven't done
It
it,
looked amazing.
do it. It's amazing.
Yeah, mate, that's unreal. And look, I've got to give a shout out to Scotty's Smokes Barbecue, who on Instagram just cooking some amazing barbecue and up and coming in the social media game in New Zealand. So big shout out to Scotty there, mate. It'd be great to see him. So sort of keep cooking on. But thanks everyone for joining in, and thanks for all the comments that are on Facebook and LinkedIn and all the platforms we're on. Sorry we couldn't get to all your comments, but so we'll leave you guys. And Mark, you have a great week, mate. And
You too, mate.
catch everyone next Thursday at 9:30 a.m.
All right, see you guys.
See ya. Oh my God, I hate it.